and good evening. I'm Melisa Idris. Welcome to Consider This. This is the show where we want you to consider and then reconsider what you know of the news of the day. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department in charge of Religious Affairs, Datuk Muhammad Naim Mokhtar, recently proposed that halal certification be made mandatory for eateries that do not serve pork or alcohol, and the report on the matter will be discussed at an upcoming cabinet meeting. So tonight on the show, we'll delve into what it takes to get halal certified, the challenges that businesses face, and how they can be better supported in their quest to get certified. So here to help us answer those questions is Dhaliff Anuar. He's Senior Manager of the Chairman's Office at Halal Development Corporation. He's also the head of the Halal Consultancy and Advisory Unit at HDC. Dhaliff, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Melisa.
Thank you for being here. So maybe we can start our conversation today with a little bit of context as to where Halal Development Corp sits within the halal ecosystem.
All right, thank you, Melisa. So I understand that HDC or Halal Development Corporation is not as popular as JAKIM, but our agency, we are a government agency, and we report to the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry. So our role specifically is not involved with the halal certification, but our focus is on the pre of the certification and also post of the certification, meaning that I would like to say that our country is very serious about developing the halal economy. So we cannot have just certification. We have to have more. We have to have agency that focus on inviting more people into the halal space, and also create more awareness and create more territory where people can venture into the halal space and prepare them for them to enter into the halal space. And once they get the halal certificate, or if they are already in the halal space, we want them to grow. So this is what HDC does.
So you are there to help businesses get halal certified. JAKIM does the actual certification, and then you also help them grow post-certification.
Correct.
Within your role specifically, because you are the head of the Halal Consultancy and Advisory Unit, so talk to me about what that role is. I mean, who do you work with? Because I take it that you will be doing a lot of the pre-certification and post-certification work.
So in my particular unit as consultant, so people may, first thing comes to their mind will be about, companies who wishes to obtain halal certificate and then they get help from the consultant. Yes, that is the main thing that we do, that I do, my unit does. But actually, we do more than that. Now, we do more than just helping companies to obtain, to apply for halal certificate. What we do is that we also help governments in terms of developing whatever area that comes that are within the halal space, such as the framework, the governance, policy, and whatnot. And it's not just Malaysian government. We help government from other countries as well, particularly to develop their governance, their halal framework, or even the national plan on how they want to develop their halal ecosystem.
So Malaysia is seen as a thought leader in the space, and then we are now outsourcing our expertise in halal economy to other governments who want to build their halal economy. So that's the role of your unit. I want to, before we go kind of globally, I want to focus domestically. So because you also provide the consultancy for international and local businesses who want to get halal certified in Malaysia, walk us through that. What is it that you are hearing from industry players who want to be halal certified about the challenges they face and what they need to do to be certified?
Well, I've been hearing a lot of misconception and misunderstanding about halal certificate. Of course, there are a lot of misperception out there where halal certificate is difficult and very challenging and it requires a lot of investment. Well, maybe it's true at some point that it requires some investment, but by the end of the day, when it comes to halal, being certified halal, or even to apply for halal certificate, there's only guidelines out there set out by our government, the Malaysian standards. And then within the guideline, they are all just limits or threshold.
What do you mean by that?
It's just, you know, what's written in the Malaysian standard, and also they call it another standard of halal or another guideline of halal by JAKIM is called the manual procedure of halal certification in Malaysia. These are all of the clauses in there are just threshold, are just like, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. And it's just that, you know, everybody can be creative when it comes to like setting up a company. They can do whatever and they can apply for halal as long as they do not overstep the limit. Yeah, so that's basically what halal certification is all about. You are allowed to be creative as you are.
Is that good or bad? So what I understand is that the guidelines are actually, they're very black and white, but they're also quite vague. That means you have to adapt it to
vague in a
specific?
sense if you look at into that way, but the way how I look at it is that halal, what it requires is just something that just limit. You can be whatever, you can produce whatever, you can create whatever kind of food that you want, as long as you do not breach certain limits.
Okay, so there are limitations that you cannot breach if you want
such
to get
as we know, I mean, like
halal certified.
you know, like no alcohol, no pork and stuff like that, no derivatives from all of these sources, and it must be clean. But when for example, the clean, the hygiene terminology is very subjective.
So how do you prove that for a business who wants to get halal certified? How do they prove they are not overstepping these limitations?
By complying to the clauses stated in the Malaysian standard and as well the manual procedure, JAKIM's manual procedure.
So they compile this in terms of like documentation,
yes,
submit it to JAKIM.
Yes, and then later on they will be examined, or in a word, audited by JAKIM.
Okay.
Yeah.
Audited by JAKIM. Okay. And how long does this audit take? I think that's one of the biggest grouses, right?
Yeah.
The question of how long does it take to get halal certified?
It doesn't take really long.
Okay.
It doesn't take that long as what people always, you know,
be
talk
more
about.
specific.
Well, the client charter by JAKIM is supposed to be within 30 days. This is their client charter. The audit going to takes around 2 weeks, something like that. And the physical inspection is going to take around 1 day, half a day, or even 2 days. It depends. It's not going to take that long. The duration that is going to be, you know, involved in this is mainly about waiting in line, because there are so many people applying for halal. You have to be in line. So in order for you to get to your, you know, your time, I don't know when, but it may take some time for you, you know, to reach the scheduling of JAKIM's for them to do the audit.
So we've heard grouses of, you know, the certification process or the application and then the process taking months, 9 months long. And now you're saying that actually it's 30 days.
It is. The charter.
The charter is 30 days.
Yes.
So is there some truth in the fact that the wait can take months?
Yeah.
The wait can take months?
Yeah, there is. Well, the duration, of course, by the end of the day, it falls back under the applicant themselves. Because one, they need to fully be prepared, because JAKIM going to do the audit, going to examine once you like not successful during the audit. Of course, they're going to tell you, maybe you need to repair all these things first, and then
that could
come back to us.
the process.
And they give like 2 weeks of, you know, the what they call it, the grace period for them to rectify, to remediate all of these non-corrective things. And then usually companies who have no assistance, they will be like in limbo. They do not understand what is it that they need to do. So it takes them longer for them to remediate all of this problem. And then in summary, people will say that, halal certification takes a very long time for us to be successful. So, but basically the problem is that what takes them a very long time is because all of these thing that happens during the application period.
So is there a way to support
Yeah.
applicants in that process so it doesn't take so long for them? That's not in so much red tape and bureaucracy and you know, it's complicated and people are not sure where to go. Is there a way to make that more simplified?
Yes, there is a way. There is a way. Me personally, I would advise my client or whoever on the television seeing this at the moment, there are always 3 steps that I would always advise people to do. First, in order for you to go for halal certification, you need to comprehend. It's just the same like how you go for any examination, SPM for example. Yeah. So what you need to do, you need to prepare yourself, and then you need to comply, do all the work, and then you apply. So these 3 things: first, comprehend, understand, and then embrace it, adopt whatever requirement. Once you understand, then you can adjust whatever you are needed for you to go for halal, prep yourself there, and then you do the application and go sit for the examination. That's always the best way. The problem is that typically, well, this is not something that is, you know, that is wrong, but typically people will just jump into halal certification without preparation. So this is what causes, you know, the grouse that people are always complaining. But I'm not saying that, you know, this is something wrong to do, but this is what happened in reality. So I always advise they should follow these 3 steps. First, it's either for you to do your own research, go for trainings, get to know what halal requirement is all about. Halal certification is not, it's not something that is, you know, can be easily understood by anybody. You need to go because it's a certification system. There are guidelines, there are clauses, and there are so many things that you need to comprehend first. And then once you understood all of this, then you will need to manifest it. You need to materialize whatever that you understood and adopt it into your business nature, and then to adjust whatever that are needed for you to be complied with halal. And then once you're ready, then you go for halal certification, go for the application.
Okay, so which businesses should be considering halal certification? I mean, can they do it themselves? Do you need to be of a certain size? Do you need to hire someone external to help you get your halal certification? How do we think through who needs to be halal certified?
Okay, first of all, who needs to be halal certified? Well, since I sit at the government agency, so we've been receiving a lot of inquiries from many categories of companies who wishes to be halal certified. But sad to say, at the moment, halal certified only halal certification is only for 9 schemes. They call it, JAKIM call it 9 schemes. First, there is a FMB, which is the food product that you can sell it on the shelf. And then second is for the food premises, restaurants and whatnot. And then it's for slaughterhouses, for, you know, to produce the halal meat. And then we have pharmaceutical, but not all kind of drugs. It's only for the one that you can sell on the shelf. And then we have cosmetics, personal goods, and then we have logistics. We have OEM, the manufacturing, and then also lastly the medical devices. These are only the categories of businesses that can go for halal certification in Malaysia.
How, when we have all these different types of
and it's growing
industries, right, that require halal certification, it says that one size fits all may not, a one size fits all approach may not work for such varied industries. How does that? How do we think about that? I mean, is there a halal certification for each industry? Are there different types of halal certification, different levels of halal certification?
There are several, if I'm not mistaken, more than 15 Malaysian standards on halal alone. So different businesses will be required to comply to different set of guidelines. So it depends on you. What is your company? What are you the nature of your business, and then if you fall under the logistic category, then you will have to follow the guidelines within the Malaysian standard that focus on halal logistics.
So we have, so let's look at F&B, the F&B sector. We have businesses who brand themselves as Muslim friendly, but they may not be halal certified. How do we think about that? That should there be different types of halal certification given Malaysia's diversity?
Yeah, if you ask me as a consultant, my answer is that there's always no right or no wrong. Yeah, everything is quite possible. Yeah, it's always possible.
Okay,
but
what do you mean by that?
But answering to that, yes, I do in the sense that agree with another layer of not certification but recognition, perhaps. Because by the end of the day, it's about the consumers, it's about our people. We want, you know, our daily life, we want some sort of assurance, especially on halal, hygiene, halal. We want all this for someone to look after us, about the quality of what we consume. So, as we know today, halal is stringent, when it comes to applying it, and it has its own reputation, and which is already good, recognized by the entire world. But when it comes to, we know that businesses, there are so many layers of businesses, but the smaller businesses, the ones that we consume a lot, even me, who goes to, you know, all these, the stalls and all that, we want, people demand some sort of assurance when we go to those places. And at the moment, halal certification do not cover, they can cover all those things, but you know, it's gonna take a lot. But perhaps there should be another layer of simpler recognition or assurance by a competent body who can give out, you know, the confidence for people like us to consume all this thing and knowing that, oh, it's halal. So at the moment there is none yet, but there are initiatives I can share.
Okay.
There are some initiatives
there's
towards
some
it.
thinking and discussion about this.
Yes.
Okay, and a different, a halal light, if you may.
Correct.
Okay.
Halal light. Something like that.
Okay.
But we have to be very careful with that because, you know, by the end of the day, it's about you know, legal matters and also, you know,
and trust, right? And consumer trust as well. There's so much
so
trust
many at stakes here. Because, you know, if I were to say something that is halal, and, you know, I might be, I definitely will be responsible. I mean, like,
you don't want to misrepresent it
and all that. Correct.
Understood. Okay, so let's talk about cost. That's another big I don't know, another big grouse that people have. They say, oh, getting halal certified is expensive and it will add to the cost of my running my business. Yeah, correct.
Cost-wise, well, there is it's very subjective. So there are people, there are businesses who are already certified.
Okay. Is it expensive to get halal?
GMP, HACCP, MISTI, all of this hygiene certification, they are already being certified that. And if these people, if this company wants to apply for halal, definitely the cost will be much lower because they don't need to adjust whatever that they have in the operation. But for the new, for those who do not have any sort of preparation towards the hygiene, quality and whatnot, and their first certification will be halal, of course, they need to invest things when it comes to like the hygiene requirements and material that they use in their factories or in their kitchens and whatnot. So these are the costs. But when it comes to certification, the application, the fee, not the cost, the fee, I can say it's very low. It's only hundreds.
Okay. So there is a distinction to be made between the fee to get certified and the cost of becoming halal.
Yes.
Okay. And that was the pre-approval side, the pre-certification side. Once you do get certified, and then you have the post-certification. So what measures are in place that businesses continue to adhere to halal standards, that they
That's one
are
thing.
monitored,
Yeah.
that they... How long does it last for, a certification?
Well, most halal certification, I say most, not all, they last for 2 years.
Okay.
Last for 2 years, but only for slaughterhouses, it's only for 1 year.
So do they have to go through the entire process every time
they
it
have
expires?
to. Yeah, they have to. Yeah, it's not just about renewing, because we know that when it comes to businesses, there's always like new products that they want to introduce. Yeah, so each new products, if they want to introduce, they need to declare, or in a way, do another application for the new products.
Also, for an F&B business, if they want to add to the menu,
correct,
they have to make sure that
they
menu
have to
goes
do
through.
Another application, and they have to. They cannot run away because they're already halal certified. Yeah, because whatever that halal certified company, whatever that they produce, it must be all audited. It cannot be, you know, somewhere along the line where they already have halal and then they add another and then they are using the same halal logo. That's an offense. Yeah, so meaning that a halal certified establishment, it has been audited by the competent authority, either JAKIM or the State Islamic Department, and it has been approved. And whatever that comes into the addition later, it must get the clearance from the authority.
In a globalized, connected world, there is no one standard for halal. Right?
Yeah, true.
So how do we recognize other countries' halal certifications? Do they recognize our halal certifications?
That's the best
How does
part.
it work?
That's a good question. I can say that I've been in this industry for more than a decade. Other countries replicate our halal standards, and they tweak it to make it theirs. So I think for Malaysia, we are very much welcome when it comes to all this, because we want everybody to take us as the foundation. So it's going to be easier for us to recognize them.
What are they? What are they replicating? What is it about the Malaysian
standard, the Malaysian halal standard?
Are we so stringent? Are we?
I think not stringent. I think we are quite developed in some way and tested, and proven.
So currently, in terms of the global halal economy,
I can say we are the best.
We are leaders in this.
We are, because I'm not saying this from the top of my mind. It has been proven. If there is this report by Dinar Standard of Dubai that Malaysia has consecutively stays at #1 when it comes to the Islamic economy. Yeah. Ahead from Saudi, ahead from any other Islamic nation.
What are we doing to make sure we maintain that lead and don't
we
lose
have
our
to be very
competitive?
aggressive. We have to be very
What's
active.
on the plan?
There are plenty. #1 is that Malaysia is, I can say, we are very prominent with our halal industry master plan. In there we have it's a plan, it's a huge plan where everybody, all of the agencies and ministries will contribute things to that plan as well, and also executing things from it. Yeah. So that's one thing, and the rest is that JAKIM, they are always evolving, and definitely us, HDC, we are carrying government's agenda in expanding, not just promoting. We are enhancing, elevating the Malaysia's economy, and recently we introduced halal diplomacy, whereas the diplomacy is already there, but it's just that since last year we introduced the framework of halal diplomacy. You know that if you travel all over the world, you can find all this Thai food everywhere. How does that came into picture? It's because somewhere in the early 2000s, the government of Thailand, they introduced the culinary diplomacy. And that's what we want to do. That's what we are doing now in Malaysia. That's what halal is, our agenda, because nobody else now has whatever that we have, and we should not lose this.
Dhaliff, thank you so much for being on the show, sharing your insights with us. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Melisa.
That's all we have for you on this episode of Consider This. I'm Melisa Idris, signing off for the evening. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.